dog trainer life. So basically what I'm working on right now is just my morning routine. So just so you guys get a quick idea, and obviously for people this might be different, but as soon as we get up in the morning, we go out for a walk, and that's like a 15-20 minute walk, but that's a stimulating walk. You know, we get our poops out, we get our pees out, but even during that time, I'm asking for sit stays, you know, every now and then. I'm asking them for weights. I'm asking you for them to do random behaviors as we, you know, kind of tackle the world around us when we're on a walk. So it's a physically and mentally stimulating walk, like most walks should be. But we do our little walk. We come back home. These guys eat breakfast, and then I sit down here and I take care of all my emails and correspondence that I need to take care of. Now, during that time, these guys are expected to just kind of chillax. Now, whether they want to self-entertain, that's fine if they want to go ahead and play with a toy. But ideally, you know, especially with Rogue, for example, she would just kind of be like, oh, there's nothing for me to do, or you're not telling me what to do, so I'm just going to start pacing around the house and drive myself nuts. So I started working on the tethering exercise and just kind of having her hang out on her bed here and making sure that that's pretty rewarding. So come to 7 months later, which, by the way, she's available for adoption still. Now she does this behavior on her own. The second that she sees me sit down here on my couch and open up my laptop, she just kind of walks herself over to the bed. Now, what's making her a little more anxious is the fact that we have a puppy, Charlie, just kind of walking around. And the reason why I'm allowing this to happen, and you probably have seen him in camera here a few times, but as you can see, there he is right there. He's sniffing all my stuff, and he's looking for stuff to get into. He's just like, I'm bored, I have nothing to do, my brain is not occupied, so let me just see what I can do. You know, the way that I kind of compare this to is that if I give a teenager full freedom with all the perks of the apartment, you know, no credit card, no curfew, and, you know, the nice car, that brain is not mentally mature to handle all those things. And so since I'm not telling a teenager what to do with those things, they're like, I'm just gonna buy stupid stuff. I'm just gonna race my car around the street. I'm just gonna not call before I come home at like 2 o'clock in the morning. And so we want to make sure that we're limiting how much freedom we're giving our dogs and giving them guidance, especially when their brains are not fully matured. Ghost has just kind of fell into this pattern. By now, as you can see, he's knocked out, taking a nap. Charlie, on the other hand, is like, I don't have anything to do. Let me just kind of pace around the house. Now with COVID, our life has changed quite a bit, especially if people are either working from home or not working at all. You might start seeing your dog's anxiety levels kind of come up because they're just kind of they're not used to having you at home all the time, especially if you were doing kind of like a 9 to 5. And so if you're just home all the time, like I feel that either I need to be entertained the whole time by you, or I need to be by you the entire time. So we're seeing a big uprise in a lot of separation anxiety cases. And so this exercise right here is going to help for those people that are, you know, trying to get some work done without their dog having, you know, constantly being on them, or the dog constantly, you know, bothering them while they're on a Zoom call and things like that. This exercise is going to help you guys quite a bit, and hopefully it's going to help us transition to whenever it is that life goes back to normal. You know, kind of want to teach your dog to relax while you're at home, whether you're walking around, doing whatever. So this will be a good routine for you to practice if you're, you know, generally a 9 to 5er, or if you're just working from home. Because usually the routine is we wake up, we take our dogs for a walk, we feed them, and then we leave, right? We leave our dogs alone. So because we're not leaving them alone, they're just getting the chance to, you know, where they used to get the chance to go in their crate, and they're like, okay, human's gonna be gone for a few hours, let me just sleep because I'm in my crate. Obviously that's not with separation anxiety, that's a different video. But dogs are not really getting that anymore. So they're not getting enough sleep, which then is making them more anxious and a little bit more neurotic. So like I mentioned, Charlie's still kind of pacing around the house here. And so if I'm not giving him a job to do, that brain is starting to wonder. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna guide him over to his little bed back there and his little tether, and I'm gonna make that rewarding. Now, like I've said on previous videos, I wanna make sure that the tether is a nice, happy place. I want Charlie to think that hanging out on that bed is so much better than walking around my apartment here looking for food. And so, where is he? There he is. As you can see, he's still just kind of sniffing around. And so, what I'm gonna do now, stay there, Reggie. Since I'm gonna be handling some treats here, I'm gonna remind Ghost and Rogue to stay on their beds. Stay, Reggie. I'm gonna reward the fact that she's staying here. I'm gonna reward Ghosty before we go. Hey, Charlie, come here. Reggie. Good shade. Go to your bed. You heard me do this negative marker with Rogue here, just to let her know that I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Charlie. Stay, good girl. Charlie, come here. Good boy. Yes, good boy. Now, I know that Charlie has had a problem in the tether before, or going into the tether. Now, with stuff like this, that you see your dog's apprehension of like, no, I don't want to go over there, especially if your dog has some fear-based aggression, or let's say if I just went to grab his harness and kind of drag him over there, I'm either asking to get bit, or I'm making my dog not want to do this one fun thing that I'm trying to get them to do. So the first thing that I always tell clients is take your time. You don't need to drag your dog over there. You don't need to do exactly what your dog thinks you're gonna do in those moments of like, no, I don't want to go in the crate, or no, I don't want to go in the tether. By me just simply grabbing you and forcing you over there, I am adding more to that fear. And so I want to make sure that he trusts me into this exercise by gently walking him over there. Like I said, take your time, especially right now people are working from home. You have time to do this. Good job, Rogers. I'm gonna go ahead and reward Rogers and Ghost for still staying patient. Good job, Charlie. And see how now Charlie's more interested in me. The first time that I called him over, he was immediately like, oh, you're only calling me to put me back on the tether, which is unfortunately, what a lot of people do already. And so make sure, this is why I also tell clients to just call their dogs at random points so that we don't call them when we need them to come to us. And so again, I want to make sure that going onto this bed is a nice little fun exercise. Roger, you stay. Ghosty, you stay. Charlie. Reggie, go to your bed. Thank you, madam. Right, Charlie, come here, bud. Good man. Good man, yes. I'm luring him into that bed. I can't remember if he knows the place command or not, but either way, I'm just using my lure to get him on there. Good man, you. Yes. Now, Charlie can have a problem with his harness being handled, especially if I just kind of quickly go on and grab him. Obviously I'm not going to put him to that point just for your view and pleasure, but I want to make sure just to note that because your dog might have those issues. And so if, for example, I went over to reach to him to clip his little leash on and he kept dodging me or he kept trying to go away, that means that I'm doing the exercise way too fast. So go a little bit slower. Can I then touch the leash and not put it on you? And if he stays there, I'm going to go ahead and reward that behavior. Good job, you. Again, if I grab it, if I touch his harness, that still means hold it. Good boy. Yes, good job, Rogers. Good job, Boosies. I want to make sure that I'm reinforcing these two because I'm using a pretty high value treat right here with Charlie, and Charlie's getting all the attention. Good man, you. Good boy. So again, make sure that you're doing the exact opposite of what your dog is thinking that you're going to do when you have those negative behaviors coming from your dog. So I'm going to go ahead now, go ahead and clip them on. Good man, you. Nice little shake. So as you can see, that's a little shake, which those shakes tend to be signs of stress. It's like, oh my God, this is getting really stressful. I'm going to go ahead and shake it off. Now, notice that shake happened the second that I put that harness on, or the second that I put that clip on his leash. Now, this tells me that previously we've probably only put him on this tether more forcefully, right? And so I want to make sure that after I put that tether on, the fun still continues so that we don't have that negative association with that tether. Good man, you. Good job, yous. Good boy. Now down. No, lay down. Good boy, yes. Good man. Stay. I'm just gonna work a little bit here on my down. My down stays. Because people are just like, okay, you're on the tether, I'm done, bye. Right? And so, especially if your dog already is not a big fan of it at the beginning, which they're not going to be at the beginning, they would much rather be walking around looking for stuff to piss you off. And so, yeah, down. Down. A little mister. Yes, stay there. No, we need to work on those down stays, sir. Good boy. Alright, so because his down stays are not great, we're going to settle for a sit stay, just because I don't want to make this video way longer than it needs to be, but we're just going to settle for him sitting, and then we're just going to capture the behavior of him laying down while I'm doing work. And so, again, his expectation right now is to stay on that tether. Good boy, stay. Can I walk away? I'm going to go ahead and reward these guys. Now, quick little winter pro tip, and if your dog really likes peanut butter, I just bought this really cool little squeezer bottle from Amazon. It was like $5 and I filled it with some peanut butter. So especially if you're in Chicago where it could be winter like tomorrow, you can just use something like this to put it in your pocket or your pouch and kind of reward, from this instead of having to handle treats with your gloves. Ghost and Rogue really like it. Charlie's still kind of figuring out. He likes the fact that there's peanut butter coming out of it, but he's still kind of figuring it out. Good job, you. Good boy, Charlie there. And now we're gonna make it a little bit more natural. Small steps, right? Obviously Rogue and Ghost already know this, but this is how I started it with Ghost and Rogue. So can I sit facing away from Charlie here without him whining, barking, crying, any of those things? He did it. He's not breaking his sit. Oh, he kind of did. So we're gonna go ahead and put him back in his bed. Come on, go in your bed. Sorry, Reggie. Go to your bed. Down, down. Thank you. Charlie Bear. Thank you. Now we don't get rewarded for breaking. These guys do. Good job, guys. Alright, so luckily I can kind of see Charlie out of the back of out of the camera here. And so if he stays on that little spot for a while, then I'm going to come up and reward him. Now, at the beginning, yes, you're going to have to take baby steps where you can sit down for a second, your dog held their stay, they're not whining, they're not barking. Cool, so I'm going to go up and reward that. So this is, hopefully gives people a little bit of a better idea of how often they should be rewarding when they're just starting to introduce this tether. And you're more than welcome to give your dog something while they're on there. And actually, stay Reggie, stay Ghost. I'm going to go ahead and give him a nice, awesome little marrow bone. I like these because they're nice and thick. There's some kind of filling in there in these guys. I think this is beef. Stay there. Good job. So I'm going to go ahead and give him a bone that he can have while he's on there. Just to keep him busy and to give me a little bit more time to work on stuff. Of course, now we're knocking it off his bed, which is fine. It's okay. He's a Frenchie. Not the brightest crayon, but they're cute. Good job, buddy. And I mean that with the highest love. Because they're Frenchies and we're made for a lot of things other than to look cute and hang out at home. But anyway, I want to make sure that even though he's still either occupied by the bone, or he's not distracted, or he's not crying or whining or doing things like that, I want to make sure that I'm still rewarding those things. Now, if you're really like, all right, I just want to get some emails on, you can't just pick your battles and say, all right, it's okay if you're not holding a sit the whole time. It's okay if you're not laying down the whole time. It's just as long as you're not whining the whole time. You have, again, a bone or a Kong, if you whatever you want to give your dog, that's fine. But even after me working on here for a little bit, I still want to make sure that I'm going out there to reward him. If you don't want to go as far as just making sure that they're sitting the whole time or laying down the whole time, just reward the little things, all right? So the fact that he's not chewing on his tether, the fact that he's not whatever. But anyway, this exercise is to train people to have kind of their eyes out on the corner of their eye. And you're teaching your dog relaxation away from you without you needing to entertain them the entire time. So obviously, you know, the time to spend on the tether is totally up to you. I usually have him on that tether until I'm done working, and then, or you know, at least with Rogue I used to before, not anymore. With Charlie, that's kind of how long I'm gonna have him until I'm done doing all my emails here. Obviously, if you have a longer work day, it's okay to space those tethers out. We're like, okay, you're tethering there for a couple of minutes, say 20 minutes. Hey, I'm gonna let you off. We'll play for a little bit. We'll go out for a potty break. We'll do X, Y, Z. Good boy, buddy. He's self-entertaining, so I'm marking that behavior. But anyway, you know, if you have longer spurts of time, it's okay to break it down. Where okay, you know what? Especially if you have a young puppy, okay, it's been 40 minutes. 20 minutes, whatever. As soon as I let you off of that tether, let's go out for the quick potty break. We come back, we play with the toy, we go for a walk, we do whatever, and then you go back into your tether for a little bit longer while I continue to do work. But teaching relaxation, especially right now in times of COVID, is extremely important. Now, it's another thing to start adding things like you being out of view. So obviously right now, Charlie's just a couple of feet away from me, but if you're dealing with separation anxiety, then you can start pushing that tether further and further. Hey, can I now put you, you know, in my kitchen where you can't see me, or I'm in the living room where you can still hear me working. So it's kind of building on little steps at a time. Obviously, you can do the same thing with the crate, making sure that they're still getting rewarded while they're being in the crate, and then pushing the crate a little bit further, especially right now if your dog is having a hard time with you leaving the house. But like I said, small little steps, make it consistent, make sure that you're doing this as much as you can. Rosie's giving us a nice little relaxed little stretching here. Good girl. Hi, you. Good job. Go to your bed. Just go to your bed. All the way. Go to your bed. Good girl. So it's also important for your dog to be able to listen to you when you're not standing up in training mode, ready to go. Now, I'm not going to get mad at her for breaking her down. Say, it's okay if you wanted to stretch. That's fine with me. But then she just kind of stood there awkwardly like, oh, I don't know what to do now. So I'm like, hey, go lay back on your bed. And I marked every little step, whether it was she was doing something right or she was doing something wrong, with my yeses and So this is how your communication should be with these guys. The more communication you have with your yeses and the clearer of an idea of what you're asking your dog to do. But anyway, this is kind of our morning routine and how you can apply that first tether exercise if you're just getting used to it with your dog. And then these are the two end results. You know, this is Rogue after 7 months of doing it. You can see that I don't have to be as as adamant about, walking her to her bed. She already knows that it's rewarding enough. And this is after years of practicing this, which is Ghost is just kind of relaxing and knocked out. So, all right, guys, go out there, have fun, and happy training.